Yeah. So, namaskara and welcome to the YPS Wildlife Week celebrations. The whole week we've had wonderful programs starting with Mr. Jitender Govindani, and then it was Satish who gave us one presentation and also did a macro walk. Then we had Mr. Kedar Bhide, and then yesterday we had Sangram Govardhani. So we have had wonderful presentations through the week, like I said, and today it's going to be the grand finale, the icing on the cake, I should say, with Mr. Praveen P Mohandas talking to us and showing us pictures of his birds. And then after this will be the last day of the Wildlife Week celebrations. And then we move in to celebrate with our YPS International Salon exhibition of awarded prints. And also we have the award ceremony as well. But before that, on Saturday, that is the 11th October, we have the exhibition and another presentation at Chitrakala Parishad called Namibia, A Journey Through Untamed Landscape and Wild Beauty by Anant Murthy. This also is going to be a wonderful presentation. So be present at the hall at 3 p.m. on this coming Saturday now. That's on the 11th October. And on 12th October, we have the award ceremony, which begins at 11 a.m. We, along with the award ceremony, we also are honoring distinction winners the years 2023 and 2024. So please be there on both the days. And after that, again, at the end of the month, that is on the 25th and 26th of October, we are having a workshop on montage photography, montage creations by Mr. Adit Agarwala. So a few more seats are left because it's a limited number of participants are allowed, only 12. A few more seats are left. So if you're interested, please register and before the registrations close. So this is about the upcoming programs. Now I request all the members on this presentation to keep your mics muted and your videos also. Videos, what should I say? We'll have to, shut the videos as well. And if you have any questions, we will, Praveen will address them. How would you prefer, Praveen? Would it be all right to ask you questions in the middle during the presentation, or would you prefer it at the end of the presentation?
I would prefer it the end. Otherwise, I will break that flow of the talking.
Yeah. So requesting everybody to just put in their questions either in the chat, which we will take up at the end of the presentation, or you can unmute yourself and ask Praveen the questions at the end of the presentation. So let us not break his flow, and we'll just, I think, anyway, everybody's going to be mesmerized with the presentation. So it's better we just go with the flow of his presentation. Now for the introduction and for the moderation, I call upon Head Satish to do the honors.
Yeah, thank you, Prema. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this journey of Wildlife Week. And as you all know, we are all enjoying thoroughly and gaining knowledge day by day by looking at these fantastic presentations by some of the top wildlife photographers of India. Praveen, can you switch on your video?
Yeah, I will have to minimize the screen.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So today we have with us Mr. Praveen P Mohandas from Thrissur, Kerala. And I'm very happy that we became friends when he was a YPS member long time back when he was studying architecture in Bangalore, and he was a YPS member also. And since then, we have been in touch with each other, and we keep meeting in many of the presentations in Bangalore. He keeps coming for Nikon presentations. So Mr. Praveen is one of the topmost wildlife photographers of India, no doubt about it. And he is master in black and white photography also. Black and white in nature, rather, I would say. So actually, he says there is more to birds than what appears on the surface. Tales of strength, survival, energy, and beauty. So today's presentation, you must be knowing that he is going to show us some of the fabulous images of birds. So the presentation that you are about to see is an exploration of the captivating world of birds through black and white photographs, showcasing the beauty, texture, and contrast of birds in their natural environment, highlighting their behavior and interactions without the distraction of color. So actually, that is the basic thing about black and white photography. Because in black and white, as I keep telling in my talks, there is only black, white, and various gradations of gray. So you have got much um, better satisfaction you get when you are looking at the picture, and you get good idea about the image. And in color, so happens that there are so many colors we miss the real beauty of the subject. So Praveen, he is a fine art nature photographer. Yeah. And uh, fine art nature photographer's art is fusion of his profession and passion. The images that he observes in the natural world speak to him in a geometry of shapes, colors, light, and textures. These elements transfigure into the concepts of and narratives of his photographs. His art is his exploration of the deep connection that all living creatures, including human beings, have with one another and with their immediate environment. Moving beyond mere documentation, his endeavor is to invite the viewers to contemplate the myriad facets of the natural world. Mr. Praveen is a practicing architect and also the founder and principal architect of Transform Architects, Thrissur in Kerala. As a nature photographer for the last 30 years, he has traveled and photographed extensively in almost all the major sanctuaries and national parks of India: Jim Corbett, Kaziranga, Kanha National Park, and Periyar Tiger Reserve, just to mention a few. He is the director of Photo Muse, a museum of photography in Kerala. He has published in various national and international dailies and magazines, and has done architecture photography assignments for leading architects across Kerala and also in Bengaluru. His awards and recognitions include Kerala Lalit Kala Academy Award, special mention in Sanctuary Asia magazine for wildlife photography. Almost most of the years he has won, like 2007, 8, 9, 10, and also in 2016. He was also a finalist in BBC Wildlife Photographer of the Year in 2009 and 10. He is the Nikon creator for Nikon India from 2021 onwards. He has officiated as a judge in several national and international photo contests. To mention a few: Greenstorm Global Photography Festival, DJ Memorial Prize in 2022, Kerala State Forest and Wildlife Department's Wildlife Photography Contest, and he has curated numerous solo and group exhibitions. He has participated in many of the exhibitions like Open Origins, Open Ends Seasons in Photo Muse Photography Exhibition, Indian Wildlife Photography Exhibition, Open Origins, Open Ends Season 2 in 2017, Nature Lyrics, a Kerala Lalit Kala Academy exhibition in Thrissur in 2018, and India Arts Dialogue in Delhi. His solo exhibitions also held in Thrissur in the name of Wild Wonders, held by Kerala Lalit Kala Academy. And his famous one-man show was on Kari, Kerala Lalit Kala Academy in Trishur, and Kari, long-time art gallery, Thiruvananthapuram. In fact, many of you people will be wondering what is this Kari I am talking about. In Malayalam, Kari means it's an elephant. So for elephant also they keep the common name is Kari. So he has got such a wonderful and fantastic experience in the field of wildlife photography. And today we are quite fortunate to have Mr. Praveen P Mohandas with us. And he had already given one presentation in 2021 during Wildlife Week. And we look forward to his wonderful images. So over to you, Mr. Praveen. Screen is yours.
Thank you, sir.
You'll have to share your presentation.
Yeah.
And it's gone off the person. Yeah.
You
I
can-
see Mr. Jitendra Govindani also here. He was always asking, he had particularly asked me to send your presentations, this thing also, details. So he's here. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, now it is fine.
Yeah, you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see.
Yes. Yeah.
So
You can go ahead.
thanks a lot for that very long introduction. I'm actually very honored to give a presentation again at this program at YPS, because my journey in nature photography started from YPS from the year 2000 while I was doing my architecture studies in Bangalore. I used to be a very regular visitor at YPS programs, exhibitions. My association with some of the very senior photographers of YPS actually helped me take up nature photography quite seriously. Um, um, I Suddenly there is a power loss here. I hope the net will continue for some
No,
time.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine for us.
Um,
Because you are frozen.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My presentation on I'll give a small introduction on what Photomuse is. Photomuse is India's first photography museum, which is located in Thrissur district at a place called Chungal, which is around 15 kilometers from Thrissur town. We have a physical museum which exhibits around 1.5 lakhs of equipments, prints, images. We have every print that has been that is existing since the inception of photography, from the very first type of print till the latest prints. We have physical samples of all the prints. We have a very large collection of vintage cameras from various parts of the world. We also kind of archive a lot of images. We archive the visual history of the contemporary times also. So this museum is actually accessible to anybody. You can come to our museum. You can visit all these displays. We have a preservation room which keeps all the equipments and prints safe for a very long time. We also have a small gallery where regular exhibitions are being conducted. Currently, I am the director of the museum. The museum was started in 2013. I joined Photomuse in 2016. I became the trustee in 2018, and last year I became the director of the museum. So that's on the Photomuse thing. Now, coming back to the presentation, my presentation is on birds. Why birds? Invariably, most of the photographers would have started their journey from birds. because these are one of the most immediate species that we can find the moment we step out of our front threshold. We walk into a garden, we walk into anywhere, we start seeing birds. uh, many connection with nature would have actually started through birds. We wake up in the morning listening to the calls of birds. So the kind of influence they have in our life as children were very strong. So even when you start up thinking of taking up photography, everybody would walk to this garden and try to shoot that first bird. Even my son, who picked up a camera when he was about 8 years old, he used to open the window, put the lens outside, and start shooting whatever birds that he sees there. So this is very common. So my journey is also not so different. I also started the nature photography. My first nature photography trip was to Ranganathitu from YPS while I was a student of architecture. Um, uh, and I continue that journey all along. I never left birds behind. But what I left behind was the very documentary character of uh, uh, bird photography. When I started looking at birds much deeper, new meaning started coming, new understanding started coming. This understanding is not basically about environment or bird behavior or things like that, but understandings of yourself. What are we on earth, and things like that. Much more philosophical than scientific. Yes, I agree that the scientific part of birds and bird life is very important, but I am slightly looking beyond that. But to reach this stage, actually, you have to go through that phase of understanding birds, what birds can be found where, what is their lifestyle. Each bird has a different behavioral pattern. You understand all these things and then try to um, move forward and try to connect them with yourself, and then start thinking uh, from your perspective, uh, not just from a very scientific perspective. So this presentation would be about 8 or 9 chapters with various ideas. So this project is a very long term project. In fact, even longer than my the elephant project, which I would have started in 2010 or something like that. But the birds, some of the images that you see here are, I think I shot in 2006 or 5. So it's about 20 years of bird photography. I don't know if I have completed this project, but I'm still working on newer ideas, new understandings of environment as well as myself. Um, now why black and white? As Satish sir said, I do not wanted the noise of color, because color many a times is a mask. It stops you from entering deeper into understanding or even connections that you can create otherwise, because of that colorful superficiality. Um, so if you ask me, can the same project be done with color? Yes, definitely possible. uh, but it might need a totally different approach by itself. Um, so I kind of restrict myself just to few elements like light, shape, texture, uh, and the emotion that I get connected at that moment. when I'm citing something. So I'm just not trying to record what I see in front. I am trying to interpret a thought process which I wanted to bring it out through birds. It's that I'm just using the raw material birds, and I'm trying to communicate something which is deeper in me. Now, I also believe that every person who sees the images need not think the same way that I am going to think. I am trying to portray what I thought, what my imagination was, how I personally connected. A person seeing this photograph is connected only to that photograph. He is not connected to that original situation, because he only I was present in that original situation. So my connection may not be the same from a viewer who is seeing a photograph. I always felt that in every art there is something very strong which the artist has to say, but the understanding of art or even appreciation of art need not be limited to just what the artist want to say or what he is showing. Each person can have his own connections made with these pictures. So I always leave that part open. Many a times, if you look at my Instagram, there'll be a lot of pictures which uh, doesn't have a proper title itself, because I am not restricting my viewers from a viewpoint which I uh, wanted to say. I have a viewpoint, but that's very personal to me. Each person, each viewer can have a different understanding, different emotional connection towards that work. So that's the even my black and white presentation also may not be very classically oriented, but I am more concentrating on the emotional content that each photograph has to communicate with me first, and then possibly with the viewer. So with that, I will start the presentation. It starts with the first chapter called belonging. So we all belong to an immediate surrounding. So how we try to connect ourselves with the immediate surrounding. Here in this case, it is how a bird or a group of birds get connected to its immediate surrounding. Here, the key factor is not just the bird; it's the landscape in which the bird lives. Some images may be direct. Some may be very pictorial. Some may be very abstract also. So I start with this: how water bird gets connected with the ripples. How do ripples form? Ripples form because of air movement. Uh, so here you can actually see a bird's shape being distorted, similar to any other element which is also getting distorted. Some landscapes are so vast that it defines certain shapes. It is always these shapes that define every landscape. So my emphasis would be more on defining that shape and then adding the bird into that specific detail of. So these are some of these images. I would have waited for something to happen by fixing up a frame wherein the characteristics of that landscape is already present. Similar image wherein you can see a very triangular composition here, which is completed with the mountain and the line of cranes. And you can even see another inverted triangle formation where the birds are coming in to the flock. This is more of a rural landscape where these flamingos gather in South Tamil Nadu. So you can see the typical character of southern Tamil Nadu with the palm trees, and these flamingos are also jutting out of the water, just like the palm trees which comes out of the general landscape. Similarly, other ducks also gather in these large lakes. So here also how well defined these palm trees as a form, and these two birds, which is a very migratory bird which comes from Siberia to India. So how they are getting defined in this landscape. An eagle scans for food on the by flying very close to the land. So again, there is a very deeper connection between the bird and the land. The prey and the predator uses the same landscape. The predator always has an upper vantage point wherein he scans the landscape from his perspective, wherein the prey base is always at the bottom level. They kind of start using the every element which is added by, be it human element, be it natural element, as points of resting, is all part of how the landscape gets connected with the bird. We all say ultimately we have to go back to the same landscape from where we all came from. This food would have been born here, grew up here, and its end is also happening in the same landscape. Sky is one backdrop that it is physically not so present, but any bird which flies, we always see with the sky background. So that also becomes a kind of landscape where it gets connected. Some landscapes are so mesmerizing that you just can't stop looking at the beauty of how this connection happens. Just think of removing that peacock from there. It would be just mountains and foliage, but just by with the presence of the peacock, it just transports that, or rather elevates the scene to something different. The linearity which the landscape has in this receding tidal area, where you can see bands of water and land, and you can also see how the flamingos are also forming a, a band. So a lot of my photographs is graphical content of objects becomes a major design element in creating that, in placing things in that rectangle. Many of the followed rules may be broken, but that is all broken just for not just for the sake of breaking the rule, but to try to communicate something visually. Here again, you can see earlier we have seen the palm trees, but here you can see the coconut trees are also. It's just imagine how these birds pop out from the land. Similarly, these coconut trees are also, so this showing a very deeper meaning. It's just because of the large flock of egrets, this image gets this visual gets connected to each other. Similarly, a forest landscape with a very last shimmering sun's light falling through the fog in the water creates a startling contrast with the difference between the boundary between the water and the land. and then the birds flying away to the roost. Sometimes landscape becomes very zen kind, and such a very vast landscape. One single small bird flying also gets connected. It's like that disconnected water, the stream, which physically is connected, but visually, when you see, is all disconnected. So similarly, this bird is also kind of physically present there, but kind of disconnected from the landscape because of its vastness. Um, some very intimate landscape which these vultures use for as roosts. They lay their eggs there. The chicks grow there. So this is about home, the place we call home. Maybe the visual of the home is slightly different from what we have, but ultimately the idea of home is all the same. The receding tidal streams that creates opportunities for waders for feeding. So you can see the diagonal last trickle stream that's formed, and uh, the connection which the bird creates with that land which just formed. The same land was filled with water a few hours back. So that is that connection which they come bring in with visuals. Here again, you can see the mountains. If you look at the profile of the mountain, you have a smaller mountain and you have a bigger mountain, which has a very curved slope. Similarly, you can see the tree here having one left side and then a much more bolder two branches coming on the other side, and this peacock sitting on it with its tail resonating similar to the slope of the mountain. That ends with goes to the second chapter on conversations. So if you start looking at birds, you see a lot of conversations happening between individual birds. You any flock of birds, or maybe even two birds sitting on a branch, they are always communicating to each other. They're trying to tell something which we do not understand. I'm trying to look at that conversations. Some conversations are very pronounced. Some conversations are very silent. There are see, when we have like we say, when we have light, we also have darkness. So every non-conversations are also existing sometimes. So here you see what if you look at the head position of the birds, they are into two different directions. Definitely there is a silent communication or a silent conversation happening between them as on deciding where they have to go. So these are certain things that we also face in our own life with our friends, family. So it is those emotions that I try to get connected to nature through my photography. So there will be a much stronger conversation here between the animal and the bird. An animal allowing the bird to sit on top of it is actually part of that conversation. The birds communicating to each other. So when I see this scene, I am just thinking in that way. What are they trying to tell to each other? How are they able to mingle so closely? You can also see the presence of the large tree. So there is a conversation between the tree and the landscape. So there is multiple conversations happening. Um, Here, if you see, there's a flock of juvenile painted storks. So immediately on top, you can see a branch with a lot of leaves. So during that phase of the juvenile painted stork, when they come out of the nest and when they are slowly about to start flying, they all congregate together for their safety. They have still not formed a family of themselves. It is just like the leaves on a branch. For a period of time, when a new leaf comes, all are clinging together to that branch. As the leaves gets older, they start shedding. So it is some kind of connection that flock of birds and a branch of tree which is nearby resonates to each other. Here again, it is a it's a very silent conversation of that arc which is formed by the tree shapes and the arc which is formed by two birds while they are foraging. So some conversations need not be very direct, but if you start looking deeper into these imagery, then you will start uh, listening to those conversations. How a gigantic animal talks to the small myna which is nearby. They're always traveling together. You'll see I have a very big collection of images of elephants and mynas communicating to each other in various formats. Uh, um, uh, a lapwing talking to its own shadow uh, in again a tidal pool, which is tidal area which is just formed. The evidence of all these elements are present in the image. So it is not just about the species. You have to look into finer details of what is present in the picture and then try to decode a meaning and get the understanding. Some conversations are like very direct. I don't have to tell that there is some kind of conversation happening between both of them. It's very, that moment has been captured very uh, precisely for that matter. Again, there are silent conversations. Like if you look at the landing bird and the other bird moving away, definitely there is some kind of conversation been happening between both of them, either to chase away the other bird, or the other bird is giving its space to another one. Conversation between humans and the fishermen who live in the same landscape, and the birds which also use the same landscape for their life. So it's the conversation of two different species. Here also the conversation part, the physicality of that conversation is very direct. Maybe about it's like yelling at somebody or something like that. I don't want you here, kind of feel. Or maybe come and be with me. I don't know. There are two faces. However, each person wants to take it, you can take it that way. A conversation between two different the blacks and the whites. You see you see these differences in our own society also. So many a times my thoughts are also connected with what is happening around me, and uh, uh, what is happening with my own society, my own thoughts, what I feel about it, because I don't have another language to communicate. My only language to communicate is through visuals. Uh, you can see a human kind of facial feature, and the daughter looking at that. Again, there will be a silent conversation. I used to tell this human figure actually used to look like me. A conversation between the prey and the predator. What are they trying to tell to each other? The prey is telling, okay, you couldn't catch me. I am safe. But the predator might be telling, you are safe for the time being, but I'll catch you again. Here, when if you look at, you see a mating pair and another purple moorhen standing close to it. So there is again a conversation happening between the three of them. But if you look at the reeds behind, again, if you look at the form, you see a single bunch of reed in the left, and you see two bunches of reeds standing together on the right side. So there is again a kind of connection between the animal and its surrounding, and then again a conversation visually. Different animals communicate with birds, which is it's a very direct conversation that we kind of see everywhere once we are in the forest. Conversations from a distance. So always there is a space between these. Every bird maintains their space, but still within that space also they are kind of communicating. You can see a group of a flock of birds on the left and a single bird on the right, and they had been divided by a very big branch, which cut across to the middle of the prey. So it actually shows the division, the communication or the conversation that the left side group is having with the other person, the single bird, or the single bird trying to converse to the larger flock. These are travelers who uses the animal's body for moving. A kind of again silent conversation. You can also see one single bird sitting on the bottom left corner of the frame, kind of trying to communicate with the other similar species as well as the species on which it is sitting. Here also, what are they trying to tell to each other? There's a lot of it's a courtship behavior of large egrets. So there's a lot of love in the air, the conversation that might be happening between them. Again, is this image when I made, I used to call it as round table conference. They're all surrounding and then they are trying to discuss something. But then when COVID came, I just changed the title to social distancing. Again, these mynas are always seen with the gores and other antelopes that we see here. Conversing with the rain. Again, a very direct connection, conversation. How a mother talks to the chick and how the chick talks to its mother. The river tern is trying to hold back the chick in its. It's a very. It's the visual may represent an animal, but then the emotions totally ours also. Impressions are we're moving to the next chapter on impressions. Impressions are images that are inspired by an impression of seeing something, both physically as well as emotionally, also with reference to a movement in art form called impressionism. So my influences are many a times not just photography or inspiration from photographers, but also from other forms of art, not only visual, but it can also be music and cinema and all those things. So this is more of this chapter is more on that kind of impressions that I get connected when I am at a scene. Here you can see uh, the if you look at the edge of the foliage, it's kind of similar to the primary feathers of the eagle. So it's it's a it's an impression that uh, I kind of gets connected to how this bondage between the bird and its surrounding happens in a very tight manner, and nature actually shows us. So for an impression to happen, you have to see something. The seeing is not just with the eyes, but then your mind has to get connected. Your You emotionally get connected to what you see, and then you try to understand that. uh, a very decisive moment which we may not even see, but photographically we are able to see such scenes. With a very high shutter speed, you can actually freeze that moment when a, cormorant goes back into the water, the kind of arc that it, it creates in that motion. But in physically, when we see, it is a very fast movement. But with the technology, or uh, with the help of what photography can do, we are able to show scenes uh, which are much different than what we can experience. Even a flying bird, we just see the fluttering of wings up and down. But what happens between that time, between the ups and down flutters, matters a lot. So many of these impressions are actually created with the technology, with the help of the language of photography. Uh, Unlike other mediums of photography, photography has fewer things. Like, we don't have sound, we don't have movement, but then we have to show the effect of movement and sound through a single frame. So we are actually limited with our tool palette, but keeping that limited tool palette, we will have to try to create meaning or understanding. An impression of a flock. If you look at a flock of bird and then closes your eyes, then you will have some dominating shapes and some very vague shapes. So I just wanted to create that kind of a feeling, an impression of looking at a flock of bird and then closing your eyes. Again, when you start looking through the viewfinder, you start looking at world totally different. From the very wide perspective that we see, we narrow down ourselves to a very limited field of vision. Now that gives a totally different experience of looking at world, uh, which is much different from that what we generally understand and perceive. So these are certain impressions that, with a very long binocular vision, that you kind of experience. Same, even some shape, the kind of impression that a shape creates um, is also very connected. Another example which was shown earlier, how that reflections of the water droplets that are on top of the grass, and also that reflections of the sunlight hitting the water, and the it is combined with the optical formula of tele lenses, which we call bokeh. We can actually create, you can actually experience your environment from a very different perspective than what you can actually visualize through your naked eye. Here it looks as if there's a flower which is blooming on top of these reeds. Sometimes the impressions are not very straight. They are very vague. You are confused. But there is some level of presence available. It might be most of the times when you look at single egrets, and you close your eyes, all you see is that small arc which its neck creates. So it is again here by a selective focus. I'm trying to create that emotion visually. The darkness starts giving a totally different impression on about things. When there is a shape, it gets slightly defined with the change of quality in light. So when there is slight glow which is happening around the bird, it starts defining in a very different manner. This is where I was talking about the how we can show motion as well as sound. We all know the kind of fluttering sound that the birds can create. It is musical. It can create some kind of music by itself because of its very repeated rhythmical movement. So I'm trying to experiment on how I can connect that sound as well as emotion together. Here it is the dynamics of the wing flow. When the wing is going up and down, the kind of motion that it creates. So here it is, the body is still, but the wings are fluttering in the process of flying. The dynamics that each feather creates is different. The various parts of the feather moves at very different speed. So by looking deeply at the motion of each type of feathers, you can understand what that dynamics is actually. Um, uh, when you see these long-legged birds standing, it just look as if there are reeds. If you can see two pairs of egret legs, and you can see two pairs of reeds jutting out of the water. Both kind of have a similar kind of feel. Sometimes you don't have to focus every image. Sometimes defocus shows you something very different, a kind of an angel flying down from the heaven, kind of a feel. Most of these birds, when they are going to land, the kind of feel that you get is like that. Here, a cloud formation has happened with a very large flock of pratin coals. To enhance that effect of a cloud formation. The moment when a big flock of these tiny birds uh, happen, the impression that you get is like a big cloud that is formed. But there may not be so many birds to create that cloud. So here I have used the technique of stacking multiple frames from the same point and then stacking it together. I don't remember how many frames I stacked here, but then ultimately my idea was to create that cloud-like formation which the flock was creating, or rather that impression that they were creating when the birds move and light hits the water. There is a kind of dancing which happens between the moving water, the ripples, the light hitting, the flickering light, and the bird. So I was playing around with that, trying to freeze that dancing motion. Some impressions last for a very long time, like a very flat scene with one small pointed point just pronounced in that landscape. Here, the impression is of that the claw of the bird, which it uses for holding on to prey, or maybe even holding on to the soil tightly. That part is very very dominant, whereas rest everything is kind of moving. So I'm bringing that impressions only to that leg. So if you start looking at birds much deeper, you will start seeing these things, and then we have to start think about what technique can I apply to get that emotion which I just got. So many a times it is first that emotion comes, and then you try to think of the technique that you have to adopt to get a visual which is which comes closer to that connect that you got with that scene. Here also the dynamics of the wings and a very angel kind of looking flight. In a way, in again in darkness with a little bit of light that falls. The definition of the bird is so creates a very sometimes that small light is what attracts you to that scene. That light falling on that small bird and suddenly gives a glow. Uh, uh, it may not be that bird, but that light. So here I try to create that same impression by with a very unconventional exposure for that scene, and then trying to get connected to that emotion. uh, Personalities. Every bird you start looking deeply, you will start personalities in them. They will have specific behavior. Even they might all look. 10 egrets are sitting. They all look similar. But if you start observing each one of them, then you will start seeing a different character into that. So personality is more of a very portrait photography approach. Just like we photograph people, uh, I have approached this thing. Some could be direct portraits, some could be environmental portraits, but it is basically about the character of each bird. um, the way certain birds sit, or maybe this bird sat waiting for a prey with its neck in a particular position. So it's not everything about the face. A portrait photography is primarily not about the face. Face is important, but then not very important. There are other aspects of life which can represent uh, a person or a living being in portraiture. That's what I believe. So even when I'm photographing portraits of human beings, it may not be always on the face. Sometimes it will be hands. Sometimes it will be just a gesture which they give. Sometimes it will be about the whole atmosphere around. Similar idea is what I'm trying to experiment here. So all these understanding and learning is always taken from other genres of photography or art or visual arts or other forms of representing some ideas. Uh, some people always like to be alone. Um, they don't like the proximity of others. So here I'm trying to get that kind of uh, connect. Some strange looking features would be there. This relatively juvenile eagle was having a particular kind of feather formation, and it also had a very different look, which it was staring at my lens. The purple heron landing, when the bird is sitting, it is a very linear line, but then once the wing is spread, he becomes a very gigantic figure. You see a lot of these herons looking at up into the sky, and each one would have a different way of looking up into the sky. I still don't know scientifically what they are doing, but then when I look at each herons, their posture is very different from one another. Uh, the kind of design this bird has with a very contrasting head and body. absolutely high and two ends of the spectrum, like we say, black and white spectrum. It's that contrast is what characterizes the Brahminicate. Uh, this heron is actually using its own wings to shade its own body, and it puts its head under the um, feathers and stays. But so I found that the shape itself very different, very peculiar to this particular uh, bird. Same way, this guy has totally a different way of gazing up into the sky from the earlier one that we saw. The kind of symmetry that its body has. With various kinds of design, like from the primary feathers to secondary feathers to the tail, all has different kind of patterns. So I'm just looking at just the difference of tonality and the shapes. It's not always necessary to show the full body, as I mentioned earlier. So it is that the immediate surrounding that is defining the bird. This heron has a totally different way of looking at the sky. So again, there will be multiple layers for many photographs. It's very difficult to compartmentalize a photograph into one particular idea alone. There will be multitude of ideas. Here, that small that at one moment when the bird uh, uh, turned its head, there's a ray of light that hits, and there's a shining happening. So it is not just about the bird's particular behavior, but also about how uh, it's how we perceive light at that moment of time. Uh, a raptor with a very beautiful, very soft body, but a very strong behavior. It's kind of every ruthless figure don't have a single face. They don't have a face. It is their attitude which creates the ruthlessness in them. But it might come with a very soft and polished outer side. So this was one thought that it came into my mind immediately when I saw this raptor sitting on the floor and turning its head away. There's no face. It doesn't represent a face, but it represents an idea. Uh, it's totally different from the earlier image. Here it is about that very bold, strong, piercing look, which the raptors can create. And again, light did the highlighting of that look. If you look at owls, they are always uh, I always feel as if they are always scared. They always open their eyes full and keep looking at leather. They keep staring at things for a very long time. If we don't make a movement, then they keep on looking at us exactly like that. So it's two directional. Like we are also looking at them, and they are also looking at us. You are always accompanied by uh, a real side and a non-real side of yourself. So which is that original you? Is that shadow of yours or you yourself? These are certain questions that comes in your mind. Some daredevils are always there. They are not afraid of things. They are opportunists. They try to utilize any atmosphere in any circumstance. So when I saw this drongo flying through the fire, I just felt like as if he's a daredevil personality. Um, another chapter we start is on shapes and shades. Um, as I said, there will be a lot of interconnections between various ideas. Not every image in shapes and shades uh, have to be seen as shapes and shapes. It has other layers of understanding too. But in this chapter, I'm trying to focus more on how different. If you look at each bird, each family of bird, they have a different shape. They react to light very differently. That's how shapes and that shape reacting to light is very different. Uh, how a flock with very dynamic movement can create shapes. So you look at each shape, each individual has a different movement pattern, which creates kind of different kind of shapes. So even when we look at the sky and see a flock of birds flying, they may not necessarily be in the same speed or same direction. If you look at some ideas are very abstract. If you look at the flock of birds flying over water and not looking at the birds and looking into the water, then you start getting very disconnected abstract patterns. Some shapes are very pronounced. It is very connected. The way the darter is sitting and the branches, it's all kind of similar. So it looks more like a sculpture than uh, a real scene. There is no reference of the landscape. It is about that just the shapes getting connected to each other. Here, how the shape is used to that triangular shaped water area is used to place the flock of bird that is moving in the air, in the water. Uh, if you look at the tree and the tree's reflection and the flying bird, it's all so connected to each other. How something can be deconstructed. Shape can be shape can be present as well as absent. It's by just deconstructing that idea of shape. The earlier one was a connection that was which was built here. There's a disconnect which we are trying to get. Disconnecting from what where it was, where it goes. You look closer into the a flock of birds, the kind of shapes that it creates. The definitely the closer ones would be less clear, but you see that edge very defined. Uh, Very sculptural form that creates with a very high shutter speed. Repetition of these shapes, you can see multiple V forms happening in the bird as well as the tree that is where it was. Sometimes the surroundings helps you to create that shapes. Even though the lines are discontinuous, your mind will actually complete that discontinuous part. Sometimes the shapes are very prominent in that within the landscape itself. A flock of birds flying, creating the shape of a flying bird. This again did not happen. It just happened because the light hit the birds in a particular angle. The bottom part of the bird was facing, it was white and it was facing the sun, and it created this shape. You can see a hornbill resting, in fact, sleeping. But if you look at the shape of the branches and the shape of its beak, it is kind of similar. Here, there is a total division of shapes. There are just two tones, is black and white, and then the reversals. Sometimes shapes are very fluid. It takes the the fluidity can be felt uh, in the shape getting noticed and unnoticed. It's basically the tonality that you can get you see between multiple feathers, the texture, the shininess of the feather, the wet feather, the dry feather, and then the shape that is created. It is also about being together in a space. So there are multiple interpretations that we can give it to that. Again, here how the shape is getting connected, uh, the branch, shape of the branch, and the shape of the wing. Primarily, this used to be a very colorful picture for me, but here I wanted to show how that shape defines. Next chapter is about solitude. You see a lot of birds sitting alone for hours and hours and hours in one spot uh, without doing nothing, which is something which we all long to do. We are in our modern life. We are literally unable to do it. 2 minutes you sit, you pick a screen. Uh, uh, but but uh, we all wish to sit like these birds someday or the other, with doing nothing, no thoughts, blank mind. It's so nice to watch these birds sit like that. Uh, uh, how many hours these birds sat there with doing nothing, and it's also again the idea of shapes is also here. Like the tree branches and the uh, tail of the peacock is kind of similar. But then again, there is a solitudeness that the image portrays. It's just that light highlights his presence, but then he's keeping on sitting there for hours. This is what I was trying to tell. We are always tangled in thoughts and busyness of life, which is all surrounded us. But then we hope to sit in one single line, single straight, single straight line, just doing nothing. So it's sometimes it's very symbolic. Elements are used as a symbol to kind of evoke certain thoughts. This was the picture which was used in the poster. Again, the solitude can be felt in this very vast landscape. Eagles are one bird that you can see just waiting for hours together in one pose, maybe scanning the whole landscape for a prey movement. Uh, Kind of solitude it will feel, but the tree is filled with flowers. It is to be in such an environment and then be all alone, doing nothing is very heavenly. In very it was raining heavily, but still the egret is in solitude. Uh, I don't think I need to explain what is happening here. It's sitting on a dry tree, looking into uh, a line of trees, which is very filled with leaves. So it's all about hope. Sometimes what you think in that solitude, you're not clear of what is happening, but then there are a lot of hopes that come into our mind when we sit in a very dry area. So it is hope that is pushing every one of us to move to the next moment. So the moment I saw the scene, that is the idea that came into my mind about hope. I have a bigger series of uh, which is being done for a very long time on just peacocks. That is why you see a lot of peacock pictures in the presentation. Being so part of that tree, the cormorant actually looks as if it's another branch of the tree. Like solitude, there is also togetherness that exists. They all use this togetherness for their survival. It may not be just a single species survival, but the survival of that ecosystem is also because of this togetherness. Multiple species sharing the same space uh, is all part of this togetherness. They are separate individual families, but then they come together at moments. But they also, this bird is signing that this is my territory, you cannot enter my territory. So there is differences also in togetherness. Together we build a family. So they're sitting on male and the female is sitting on its nest. The flock always uses its togetherness as they become a larger mass. Even individually, if you look at their small birds, but then when they sit together, it's a much larger mass. Synchronized movements, moving in and out together. Uh, the uh, the patterns that take when during murmuration process, you just don't know how perfectly they synchronize this movement of various flocks moving at various speeds without colliding. Uh, this murmuration that we see of starlings and goals is, it's astonishing to see that. Uh, we just don't know how this is happening. Who's controlling? What is the conversation they have? How are they moving? How is a certain flock of bird moving away from the larger herd? The dynamics. It is all very strange. When the flocks come together, there is absolutely no issues of colliding or eating. They might be colliding, but we do not know. But then we don't. It is not evident. Again, synchronized movements, togetherness with other species. Even when they are together, they always define their individual character. Again, togetherness with multiple species is the composite image in camera composite. This bird is actually traveling with the fisherman. Uh, Together they are having conversation among themselves, but then there's a third person also coming in. Differences, synchronized movement for safety. I still do not know what created these bands. Only after making the image that I saw that there are these bands that are happening. Looks like barcode. Even it's a small space, it is the togetherness that helps them to be together and survive. Like three species of birds in a very small space. If you look at flamingos moving, it looks as if it's a group dance. They kind of hop with their legs, and then they flush out uh, the algae and things like that. And at one moment of the time, all the heads goes down. So it's kind of when you look at the impression that you get is it's kind of dancing. Again, starlings creating the murmuration shape that is created. Large flocks of ducks as well as flamingos in one space, using that last bit of water which is left. It's about sharing space. We live in a world where everything is compartmentalized. Me, you, he, different here, but that last remaining. This is what we have to learn from all these animals, that how they can coexist and survive. Interactions. Interactions can be sometimes about survival also. How the swallows trying to hold a bee, because both for both of them their life is important, but then some survival of some species also depended on the other one. So there is definitely an interaction happening between them. Quarrels happen, dancing together. It's a fight between the bird and the animal for their individual survivals, but the stronger wins always. It's a fight for food, so differences are always there. Just slipping away, trying to snatch away somebody else's food. Now the egret caught a fish, but the fish was already caught with a string, and the string caught the bird. What is the kind of interaction that is happening between we and uh, the birds? So without the presence of a human, our presence is definitely uh, shown there. Difference of opinions. A heartless human dominating over other species of life. You can see the heart area of the human form is hollow. Dominance, conversing with an elephant, trying to snatch away somebody else's food. Showing I'm larger than you. Who's more dominant? Private conversations. This comes to the last chapter of shared spaces. We humans coexist as birds. As I said in the beginning, we all started looking at birds because they always lived very close to us. So there's a lot of sharing of spaces between birds and humans. So these terns use the post and the fishing net that we have put for their survival, because when the fisherman comes and takes the fish, there'll be a lot of dead fish. He just throws it to the water, and the birds use that as an opportunity. Basically, both are fishermen. How a vulture uses a vantage point in a desert to scan the landscape. How the same landscape is used by humans and birds alike. We hardly get to see house sparrows here. The human presence is created by the geometrical shadow that is formed on the earth to kind of say that we share spaces. A human form vaguely in the background, sharing the same space. Here there is no presence of bird, but there is a beetle which is being pierced into onto the uh, metal piece of the fencing, which a bird has done. Sharing of spaces, be it large or small. The sky also we share. We learn to fly seeing the birds. Again, they always try to get that opportunity which comes up. We even share the horizon. Abandoned buildings become roosting sites. The trees in the city becomes roosting sites for winter visitors. We build bridges across rivers where the birds live. Again, fishermen, boats, abandoned buildings become roasting sites. They even use it as vantage points for attracting females. When the fishermen are in the water, the bird has to wait, and once the fishermen move out, the birds enter the water. Shared spaces. Thank you. That ends the presentation of today. Any questions?
Yeah, that was a wonderful presentation. Beautiful, something different. And I'm sure everybody expected to see colors because it was birds, but then this must have come as a surprise to everyone, that you can even show colorful birds in monochromes. So I'm sure Satish will have something to say. Go ahead, Satish.
No, nothing much. It was a very mesmerizing presentation and fantastic images, which generally all these generally photographers they don't do this kind of uh, concepts rather, or they have got their thought behind images are entirely different. So only art photographers like Mr. Praveen can do such kind of images. It's entirely a different ball game in wildlife photography. And some of the frames are really amazing and beautiful, and particularly in black and white, it is more colorful, I would say. So we are open to questions if anybody has got any questions.
I think there are a few hands
You,
raised. I can see Dr. Prashant has raised his hand. Doctor, you can be unmute yourself and please go ahead with your question. Dr. Prashant, you have to unmute yourself. I won't be able to do it from here.
if they are unable to ask questions, we can just see the chat and see. Yeah.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes, yes, yes.
Just
Ah.
I think audible, right?
Yeah, you're audible, though not
And
very
just
clear.
joining.
Head doctor.
Yeah. Praveen ji, good evening.
Good evening.
It is a fantastic presentation. Actually, I watched your older presentation also on elephants and all, where they were mesmerizing. Thanks for wonderful presentation. And
Thank you.
shall I ask one or two questions?
Yeah, sure.
First thing is, whenever you are doing impressionist type of photography, whenever you want to attempt, anyhow, like what I feel is any common subject like cattle egret and all, these are the best subjects for doing all these type of photography. What will be your setting like? Like, what do you want to do? Do you want to uh, think about the result first and then go for setting, or otherwise do you want to experiment on field itself and try to a conclusion? That is number one. And number two, apart from conventional photography, whatever we do, what are the things that which you are not tried and you are mesmerized by? I think I hope question like doing ICM or something like that. Which field that you are most interested in or you are not tried?
Okay. I'll answer the first question. See, black and white photography always needs a lot of pre-visualization. See, as I said, it is a scene that I get connected, then my thoughts come 99% of the time, and then I think of the technique. Sometimes you have to be so fast. That is one as one main advantage and disadvantage in wildlife photography, that your reaction has to be very fast.
Okay.
Yeah. So you every technique that you know has to be at your fingertips. Otherwise, we will end up with freezing a moment. That's all, or just trying to get that moment. So so pre-visualization is very important. You should be able to at least get 90% of an idea what this image is going to come out of, or what the final output would be. That is decided earlier, because see, we don't have the contrast of color. Suppose we are seeing a red bird in a green foliage. Immediately there is a contrast there because of the color, because of there is red and green. But when we photograph that and you still want the contrast, you have to be very sure that how you place the bird and where you place is very important. If not, both gets mixed up, and once you convert it into grayscale, they kind of fall into the same spectrum. Okay, you have some editing help wherein you can work on separate channels and then create that contrast. But that contrast is very important. You have to show that there was a contrast there between the color of the bird and the uh, surrounding only with the help of tonality. So that pre-visualization has to be there. You should also look at how light and texture is playing along with shapes. If you look at most of the pictures in this, the shapes are very defined. I don't try to mix up shapes. If I am limited by mixing up shapes, then I am not successful in capturing that idea which I was trying to tell. Now, in this kind of, or rather the kind of photography that I am practicing currently, there is 99 failures and 1 success. So the hit rate is like that. Because we have absolutely no control over our subject, our position. All these things are, but then you have to keep on trying. Suppose there's a very nice idea in your mind, and then it will be a waiting game, just to get the right moment to transfer that idea into an image. So that planning is also there, and multiple trials. See, many of these places, I keep on visiting. People ask me, why are you keeping on going to certain sanctuaries every year? I visited Corbett for about 30 times in the past 10, 15 years. And people still ask me, why do you go to Corbett? Similarly, there are other parts where, like Mangalajodi, Bharatpur, I just lost count of how many times I've been there. So this is again, each time you go, you have a backlog of ideas which was not successful. So you have to keep waiting, and trying. That is my approach to image. The second question. See, just for the sake of doing a technique, I will not apply a technique. The technique has to justify my idea visually, at least in the way that I know about. I know how to represent it. So that is how I approach techniques. There are some aspects of photography which I am not right, which are like camera traps and things like that, which I would love to do, but then I have not done. And again, one aspect of photography that I have not ventured till date is macro. I know there is an immense possibility that would open up, but then I am always a single step person. I like to go slowly, step by step.
Okay. Thanks for your answer. The thing here is, just to keep it very short, uh, if, the whatever the panning movement that you do, what will be the initial setting? Particularly about that one a great photo where only leg is sharp and the rest of the thing is in motion. I think the initial solitude only, I think somewhere that photo came, wherein a catalytic plate is moving, but leg is in sharp focus. Could you please explain how did you do that? If you remember that scene, how did you approach that?
I if I remember, the shutter speed was around 1/30. Generally, that is where I start working with slow shutter speeds. It also depends on how far I am from the bird. If I am closer to the bird, the shutter speed starts with 1/15, and then I keep working up. So I'll be always at manual setting with an auto ISO, and then if compensation needed, I would be compensating for highlights, but just to save the highlights. And then I keep working on multiple speeds. As I said, 99 clicks, 100 clicks, 99 is failure, 1 is success.
Yeah, I think this is the dictum of
yeah,
photography
so
also, wherein there is a 99% failure rate. That is clearly seen in your pictures. It is a street photography background type of pictures. Thank you. It was a wonderful presentation. Thanks.
One more pointer to add. I study a lot of street photographers and war photographers.
Okay.
I study war photographers because a war photographer and a nature photographer are kind of similar kind of people, because we have absolutely no control on ourselves nor our subject. So I just study them and look at how they are trying to tell a story which is emotionally connecting.
Thank you,
Actually,
Praveen.
I got a point here. I got a point here, Praveen. See, whatever the thing that we are giving a lot of presentation now from past 1 week, Wildlife Week, during the course of which a lot of many top photographers have shown their kind of work, how they have specialized in their own fields of work. All are different. And we have seen plenty of exhibitions, all India exhibition or international, or we have seen competitions, we have seen the catalogs and all. What is very important is how to catch these um, these techniques and how to do ourselves. That is most important. So people usually, generally, what they do is when they are watching such kind of presentations, they will listen to you and they will ask questions and they will do everything. But I request them is to practice it when they are in the field, so that that practice make them perfect. And all these techniques, whatever you are telling, no, this has to be practiced whenever we are doing, either it is macro or wildlife or bird photography or anything. So then we can become perfect, and we should know, like you said very rightly, we should know the cameras like back of our hand, the techniques immediately, what we can change to get that particular effect is all very, very important. So you have rightly pointed out those things.
Yes, muscle memory is very important. You should not fiddle around your camera searching for buttons that you want to change or dials that you want to change. Muscle. So sticking on to one single body actually helps me achieve that also. I know where the buttons are. I don't have to think that, okay, this is what I want to change. Immediately the hand goes there. So continuous practice definitely help, and never stop doing this. Photography.
Reacting to the scene is very important, no?
Yes, yes. You
So
have
when
to.
you see some five birds sitting together, you can say it's a round table conference, which many people they miss it and take only the single bird. So reacting to that scene is very, very important for an art photographer.
Yeah, keeping your mind and body ready for a scene is very important. Not only just physically present, but your mind has to be 100% there.
Yeah.
In between, you start thinking about some project that we have to do. No, this doesn't work. So if you're doing photography, just think only about what image that you want to create. Rest of the world can come later.
But photography also does that. Once you get into it, everything else is forgotten that way. You know, once you have your camera in hand and then you're taking a picture, I don't think you're even aware of your surroundings that way.
Exactly.
First, you have to
It
forget
makes
your
that.
family and then do photography.
Yes.
Mr. Jitendra has
I
got
see
a question, I
Jitendra
believe.
has, yeah. Please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Praveen bhai. How are you doing?
Doing good, sir. Thank you.
Good, good, good. And Mr. Praveen's image, I had demanded and I had taken some of his images for the coffee table book of Corbett. And his images added a lot of value to the book. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, sir.
And since then, I'm a big fan of your pictures. And I looking at those pictures, like many times, I also started carrying the smaller lenses. But
Yeah.
you tend to go with a bigger lens.
Yeah.
So I'll cut the long thing short. Uh, Praveen bhai, it's like what I observed was in most of your pictures, there are deliberately to create that particular thing, the grunge and all. So like, do you add noise to your pictures? Because I see a lot of pictures have noise there. So is it deliberately added to, especially in black and white? I know that most people do. Do you do that deliberately?
No, I don't deliberately add any noise, but one thing I am never afraid of higher ISOs.
Okay.
So I black and white basically don't show noise as noise. It is just grains. Once printed, and every picture that I make is for printing. It is ready for printing. It's just not 90% crop and 10% what I shot. But in black and white, definitely that red green dots you can't see. So that is actually a added point. It actually gives some level of it may look like detail, at some point of time. Sometimes that plastic look kills the black and white images. It is always nice to
Okay.
have some kind of texture in black and white.
Okay.
The flat black or the flat white is actually trouble.
Okay. So the next question is very, very short. Do you also do color, or so like you have stick to the same genre of black and white?
Yeah, I do color, but not for the sake of color. See, the color has to be the most dominating element in that photograph. Not just for the colorfulness of it.
Okay. So for
yeah.
for a tiger, would you click a tiger in black and white, or would you prefer to click in a color?
It depends. I have a lot of color photographs of tiger. Maybe if I'm doing another presentation sometime, it will be only on tigers, which will be a mix of color as well as black and white. I'm currently working on. I have multiple projects going parallelly. So the tiger is not completely black and white. It has a lot of color, but not just for the color of the yellow brownish tiger. It might be something else. It could be the color of light. It could be the surroundings. It could be a combination of colors. It depends. But color has to have an upper hand in that picture, and that brings the emotion in that picture.
Right.
Very soon I'll be able to.
Would love to see that work. Would love to see that work. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Venkat. Wonderful presentation. Yeah, one question. Probably you already answered it, but I didn't focus on it. I know, based on what you said, you are an expert in, or you focus fully on the monochrome black and white. Yeah, but here is a question. When you take a picture, do you set your camera to black and white only, or go outside and change in the computer to color to black and white?
I always shoot in color, but see, actually, we just have one or two cameras which can shoot black and white, but no, those cameras can't be used for wildlife. So there is no use of simulating a black and white color profile while shooting, because that's not going to help us anyway, because we have to shoot in, because ultimately the raw file is going to be recorded in color, and black and white happens only in post, at least for the time being. I shoot a lot of infrared. That infrared camera is monochromatic. It has a color profile which is more or less black and white, slightly warmish black and white. But again, I am using that only for the whatever I see is in that tonal range. But I am not. That is a light spectrum that we cannot see. We just can't see infrared spectrum. So how infrared spectrum works is very different from what pigmentation works. So in this itself, there are few infrared photographs which you will not be able to see. I'm not trying to represent it as an infrared photograph. I'm just trying that technology to get the tonal range that I wanted.
Understood.
So that is only black and white or monochromatic camera that I have. I hope someday. I've been putting requests to Nikon for a very long time, asking for a dedicated black and white camera, but somehow they just don't want to remove the filter array, which makes every camera black and white.
Okay, thank you. And as a related question, at least your earlier shots, you started from about 20-25 years. You just they appeared very, very kind of 1940s, 1950s like technology. I mean, even though you shot 20 years ago, they looked. I know you purposely wanted that way. It's very clear, but at the same time, Probably you shot them in film, isn't it? It's not all digital. That's my thoughts. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I just wanted to know.
No, I shot film till 2005. Uh,
Okay.
since 2005, I have not made any work in film. Last 3 years onwards, I have started again. But then I have a very strong background of uh, learning photography in an institute. I have a diploma in black and white photography, which was done in '93 when digital was not much available here. So the kind of techniques that I apply on my digital thing is exactly same what I was doing in darkroom. I'm just burning and dodging. I don't know too many tools in Lightroom, but I know burning and dodging. I just do that.
Okay.
So the
And
technique is basically same. It's just that I'm not using all that chemicals and everything, but idea is also
okay, thanks. But in that case, did you show any film pictures today, or you
not
did
not in this.
not in this? All right, thanks.
Okay, Sandeep, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Praveen sir. I've been following your work maybe couple of years on through Insta. So what I realized is you just sometimes I feel you have a theatrical influence where we as a child, right, we watch something on a big screen, right? Let that create the magic. Obviously you use the technique of the camera, but your way of visualization is always like a cinema or a theater play. Maybe that had an influence on while you growing up, maybe in your childhood, some theatrical, some folklore, because your images look like a folklore images. You set up something, you imagine something, you capture that moment at that moment itself, and maybe I don't see much of a processing there, because you almost got most of it what you visualized there itself. Am I right in that sense?
Yes, as I said earlier, there is a lot of influence of other uh, art forms,
Yeah.
be it painting or be it cinema, in my work. See how people. I try to use photography as a medium of communication. It's that I am just using nature as my uh, subject because I prefer to be in a landscape which is free of human beings. That's all. It's not that these ideas are not possible with human beings. It is possible, but then I don't like being in company of larger Homo sapiens. So I just chose nature. For that, I am not worried about going to very exotic locations. Anywhere outside my doorstep, there is a patch of nature. That's good enough. That's why you see a lot of egret pictures. So I'm not worried about which species. It's just that I need to communicate my ideas through the medium of photography, where my subjects are nature. It can be grass, it can be trees, it can be plants, flowers, animals, birds, anything.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Keep inspiring. It's a great visualization what we learned today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
That was an interesting question and also an equally interesting observation by Sandeep, and your ideas were really very well communicated now with your answer. Praveen, that was wonderful. And now we have Shiv Shankar who has raised his hand. Please go ahead with your question. And after that, maybe I'll take up the questions in the chat. Shiv
Hi,
Shankar,
Praveen.
you can go ahead. Yeah.
I think you have already answered my question. Like, I was curious to know whether you shoot in black and white or color. But added to that, I wanted to know, when you visualize a shot, if it is in color, would you be able to visualize, how it can be in black and white like that? Because some of your shots in black and white, which we see, is exotic.
Yeah, actually, there is a lot of training needed to do that visualization. Uh, it takes some time to get there. That's all. But once you get hold of that then things are more or less easy. But getting hold is a little bit tricky. It's that you should be able to identify what spectrum each colors would fall into when you convert it into black and white. The immediate monochrome conversion will not give you that difference. You have to individually separate them. See, when we were using film to darken skies, we used to add orange filter, red filter, depending on the blue of sky. Why was that done? Was to uh, get the difference between the sky and the whatever foliage or whatever landform we had. So it is the same principle that we have to adopt here also. You have to understand how this color spectrum, when converted to grayscale, works. Once you get hold of it, things are easier. Next is about understanding and placing your shapes within that rectangle that you are framing. The more defined the shapes are, the less they are cluttered, the more easier it is to achieve the kind of result that you want. Also, looking at light very deeply, you have to start focusing on not just where light falls, but how light plays on your shapes, because each shape is defined just because of light. Otherwise, suppose you are photographing on a overcast sky where there is flat light everywhere, it is very difficult to differentiate forms. When there is a streak of light falling, then shape starts playing on its own. So it is about getting yourself trained to look at things slightly from a different perspective. So once you start training, then one exercise which I did in my very early stage of black and white is I took a color chart and started converting that color chart to black and white and seeing how these tonalities are varying when you convert it into a grayscale. And then how you can differentiate each colors by playing around on individual color channels, which Lightroom and Photoshop, when you convert it into black and white, there is actually a section wherein when you convert a color photograph to color image to black and white in Lightroom, there will be a section where a lot of color channels come: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, magenta, all those. You can start playing around that and then getting that contrast that you want. Otherwise, images will look very flat. It will all look great.
Yeah, I mean, yes.
Yeah, so that learning process actually helps.
Yeah, I think it would take quite a lot of time to get there finally. Yeah. And I think you have followed that path very meticulously, I believe.
Yes, you need to be 100% dedicated to what.
Yeah.
That's all.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes, there's a question by Mr. Krishnamurthy. He's asking why your interest in wildlife changed to the kind of pictures.
I didn't get the question.
No, he wants to know why your interest in wildlife, how it evolved to this kind of photography that what you have shown today.
See, actually, as I said, I started with shooting everything and anything around me till I came to IPS, and I was somehow surrounded by all the big names of wildlife photography then. Satish sir, Praveen Kumar, V. Srinivasa. I was in their company for a very long time, which created a very strong influence. But deep inside my mind, there was this connection, which I grew up in the fringes of town. So my play area was always in the paddy fields and open areas and things like that. So definitely that influence was there. elephant, I've been from my memory time, I know that I've been seeing elephants because I come from Thrissur. So there is a deep connection, and suddenly I got um, this uh, photographers surrounding me with a lot of images that I get to see. I also had the privilege of seeing all the prints even before judging, because the prince used to come to Praveen sir's house, and I was living very close to it. So I was the person who used to open up the whole boxes. I used to see all these prints which came, and then they used to vote for the YPS judging. So there was a lot of discussion that I used to have every day evening by 5-6 o'clock. I'll be in his house. I'll go back to my room by 10 o'clock. So that happened continuously. So that somehow that atmosphere helped me develop a lot of things. And over a period of time, I felt that okay, it was pre-digital time, and then there was a lot of learning curve which was needed to understand these softwares, because I don't come from a software background. I just did architecture, so where in those days it was still manual drafting and all those things. So computers were new to me. So it took a lot of time for me to understand what are the possibilities that I could do with these digital files. And over a period of time, then again, I got dissatisfied by what I was keeping on repeating myself. Then I thought, no, this is not the way. I have to start looking at other inspirations, not just photographs. And then started learning about history of art, and uh, started uh, learning other genres of photography, what other people are doing, um, and then try to bring in a connection between. So I found that wildlife photography is always about documentation, or at least recording the sighting. But other genres of photography have moved much farther, like portrait photography, or even conceptual photography. So I was thinking, why not combine those ideas into wildlife with just these work. Actually, frankly speaking, Satish sir only gave me that pointer first, because he was a very at the same time he was a pictorial photographer and a nature photographer. So he was trying to combine pictorialism with nature photography. So I was thinking, okay, that is a nice idea of looking at wildlife from a very pictorial perspective. Uh, I still remember he used to introduce certain flowers when a bird used to sit on a branch. You can just shoot the bird alone; it's still good. But then he used to introduce a flower from one side, making it a lot pictorial. So that idea actually stayed with me, and many of my earlier images were had very strong influence of pictorialism. Slowly, the pictorialism gave way to conceptual photography. I started putting in ideas, and then the journey just continued that way. I don't know where it is leading to, but uh, yeah, that's my journey. I owe a lot to.
Definitely, it definitely is leading to a good place. That's for sure. Yeah. And now we have a question by Akshata. She's asking if, the first two chapters, I could see a lot of fog and mist in the background. So she's asking, do you always shoot in mist or fog? Or do you achieve it in post processing?
No, it is all shot in. If it is a foggy picture, it is shot in fog, because it is winter when most of the migratory birds come to our country. So those time there is a lot of fog from maybe December onwards till February, and I kind of utilize it very effectively, because the quality of light is very different when the light travels through fog. Um, you have contrast, but it is not so strong that it will start separating things very dramatically. You can just play around with utilizing the atmosphere a lot. So nothing is created. I don't create these effects through editing. Editing is basically about varying the tonal ranges creating the necessary contrast that the picture needs. That's it. So rest of the things are all atmospherical. My primary light source is sun and the filtering of sun. I do a lot of filtering of light. It can be foliage. I will use foliage to filter light. I will use foliage as filters in front of the lens. I pluck a set of plants and use that to screen of certain textural details. But primary light sources and atmosphere, I try to look deeply. Ma'am, you're muted. Ma'am, you're muted. Can't listen.
Hello, Prema, you're there?
sorry. I had muted because there's a lot of sound here of traffic. So there are a couple of other questions which you already have answered. Like Akshata had asked if you shoot in color on black and white, which you already have answered. And then Prakash wants to know if he is just curious to know if this kind of photography is your main objective or if it is in addition to other genre also.
No, I do only nature and wildlife photography. I don't do anything else. I like going here and there, but then I don't do any serious work, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that takes care of all the questions which came in the chat. And of course, there's a lot of appreciation which I'll be sharing with you from the chat. And anybody else, any other question? Nothing. It was actually a wonderful presentation. Everybody was looking forward to it, and this is the grand finale, like I earlier mentioned. Beautiful, and it gave a lot of it was thought provoking for quite a few people who do nature. Like you said, it's always documenting as it is, or at the most maybe a good lighting and stuff like that. Pictorial kind of pictures, but this was again very dramatic and like somebody said, I think it was Sandeep who said it had a lot of theater in it, a lot of drama. So thank you again. And
Thank you so much.
anything you would like to add, Satish, after which we could close the presentation?
Yeah, nothing much. In fact, a lot of appreciation for your presentation. In fact, it provoked so many people to at least try their hand at some of the pictures. In fact, if you had shown some 100 pictures, even if they get 1 or 2 pictures similar to that, at least it is worth it. But it takes a lot of experience behind it. But of course, our aim is to initiate or give some thoughts about the new concept of looking at nature. That is what is important. So thank you so much, Mr. Praveen, for accepting our invitation and coming to YPS. And we look forward to have you again and again at YPS. And whenever you are coming to Bangalore, you please let us know in advance so that we can have your program in YPS Hall.
Definitely.
Physical presentation.
Yes, definitely.
On maybe a different topic also. That time.
Sure. Always.
Yeah.
Always happy to.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we shall close the program today.
Yeah, I request people to drop out at the meeting.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night. Thanks a lot.